What's up, guys? I'm Mike Shana. Welcome to the channel. If you're new here, this is Michigan Muscle. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, like this video to stay up to date with all of my latest videos. If you're already a subscriber, thanks for watching, guys. This video is going to be on how to turn your street car into a track car, or at least be able to use it for tracking purposes. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. My car that I track with is a 2016 Camaro 2SS. If you've seen my previous videos, you guys know that I've done a few mods to the car, such as E85, headers, cold air intake, and I also installed a huge big brake kit on the front of the car, courtesy of Chevrolet Performance. So if you're like me, and this is your only car, it's your daily driver, but that's not to say that you can't have fun with it on the track as well. So I'm gonna go through a breakdown and give you guys 5 to 6 reasons or things you should change on your daily driver, or on the car you'd like to track, in order to make it track capable and, most importantly, track safe. So the first thing I would change would be replacing that old factory brake fluid that's usually .3 with some much better .4 that can withstand the temperatures that you're going to see on a track. So changing your brake fluid is actually much easier than you might imagine. Your brake fluid reservoir, which is located right here, that contains all of your .3 fluid that comes original from the factory. Now, if you're tracking the car at .4 brake fluid, typically has a temperature rating of 450 to 500 plus degrees, which can withstand the temperatures that you're going to see during heavy braking on the track. There's a lot of videos out there that'll show you how to bleed your brakes, so I'm not going to go through the process. But this is something that's very important to do, and I'd highly recommend it being one of the first things you do, if not the absolute first thing you should do if you're going to even think about pushing the car harder than usual during daily driving conditions. The next thing you're going to want to do, if the car comes with it, is install factory brake ducts. In the case of my car, it does. It's pretty difficult to see, but that's the brake duct right back there. And what that does with the brake dust shield removed is it scoops up air from underneath the car. You'll see right here. And allows air to be forced at the brake rotor, cooling it down. Because these brakes get really, really hot under heavy braking conditions, especially on the track. So hot that I've actually melted my center cap multiple times and discolored my caliper, which we'll talk about in a later video. Now, if your car doesn't have those brake dust shields, that's okay. What I'd recommend doing is removing the brake dust shield completely, or adding in another source of air deflection at the rotor. The next thing you're going to want to consider when tracking your car are a good set of brake pads. I use Hawk DTC 60 series brake pads on my car, and they're more of an aggressive pad for sure. It's a race-only pad, which you're not supposed to use it on the street, but I haven't had any issues with it, so I'm going to keep using it. But this is a great pad. It's a little noisy, and as you can see from Hawk's site, it's not meant to be very comfortable when driving. So this bites really hard. Its operating temperatures are between 400 to 1600 degrees. So you have to get the brakes very hot to start using them. But once they do get hot, this pad stops great. I was able to decrease my stopping distances by a ton. And I actually shaved 3 seconds off my lap time. So that just goes to show you these brakes really do help out a lot better. And not to mention, all this was doing was switching from the OEM pads to these Hawks DTC race pads. And that made a huge difference. So I don't know if I even had to switch the rotor in the front from the 6-piston to from the 4-piston rotor, from the 4-piston caliper to the 6-piston caliper. I could have just put in different pads, but I kind of put the cart before the horse, and I put the calipers on first, which it doesn't hurt, but pads make a huge, huge difference. So make sure you put in different pads. And with that, to be careful of too, is you're gonna get a lot more heat, hence why you should put the .4 brake fluid in there. to protect yourself from brake fade, because I've had it happen a lot, and actually I've lost my brakes completely too and boiled the fluid and had to slow the car down just by downshifting and pumping the brakes. And I got lucky. It happened a couple times, but you know, you have to watch out for that. And that had happened because I didn't install my factory air ducts, the deflectors, and it was causing a lot of problems for me. So make sure you do that and follow these steps in order. And it's at least that's how I'm ranking them, is most important to least. So safety's first. The next thing you're going to want to do and take note of is pull out your center caps, because as you can see, these are Vossen wheels, and Vossens aren't the cheapest wheel to track with, and I shouldn't be tracking with them, but once again, it's a daily and I wanted nice wheels for the car, so I decided to use it. But this actually will melt your center cap out of the wheel because the wheel gets so hot. I had my caliper to 720 degrees, right around there. It was really, really hot. That's when I wasn't using my air deflector, and I actually melted out 2 sets of center caps, and thankfully Vossen replaced them. But it's one of those things you've got to be really weary about, because you don't want to lose your center caps. That sucks. And I know a lot of the guys on the track don't even have center caps, so make sure when you do go to race, you pull those out. And I have mine in because I was going to a show, but I'm going to take them back out for the next track day. Make sure you keep them out. The rears have been okay. I leave the rears in, but the fronts in particular get very, very hot, so it's a good idea to pull those out. So one last final thing to look at if you're going to be tracking your car, and this is if you've gotten to the very bottom of my list and now you're really pushing the car to its limits and want to go to the next level, a great set of tires will really make all the difference in the world. And these are still street tires. I have the Nitto NT555 G2 on the car, and this is a tread wear of 320. Now, that's not the greatest for the track. It's a harder tire. It's a good street tire. It has a good tread wear, so it's going to last me a while. But I'm still able to pull over a G consistently at every turn at M1 concourse, mostly every turn. And it does okay for what it is, but if I wanted to go faster, I need to put something with a lower tread wear rating on there, like an NT05 or NT01 for the strip, for instance. Those all have a much stickier compound. The tire gets a lot softer, and you get a lot more grip. So that would be the next thing for this car, at least. And if you're still on stock tires, the stock tires are actually okay for this car, but tires make all the difference in the world tracking your car. So if you're going to be tracking your daily driver, I'd say those are my top things to suggest as far as changing something goes on the car. Like I said, safety comes first with the brake fluid. That's far most important. Everything after that is really, it's up to you. You know, make sure the brakes stay cool. Brake fluid, brake fluid, brake fluid. That is the most important thing, hands down. After that, if you want to lose your center caps, fine, let them melt out. It's not going to hurt anything, but you're going to be out some center caps. So make sure you pull them out. Add an air deflector to keep the tire cool, keep the wheel cool if you can, if you even have that option. Pads will make you stop better. Bigger calipers will make you stop better. It's really up to your discretion at that point if you want to keep going, if you're going to keep tracking the car. I track my car a lot, 2 to 3 times a week if I can. This typically puts a lot of wear on the car too, but as long as you're safe with it and maintain it and check your brakes and flush the fluid out at least once a season, at the very minimum. I'll do mine twice, if not 3 times, just to be safe, because I've kind of developed this fear of losing my brakes again because it's happened so many times when I didn't have my air deflectors installed. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to DM me on Instagram, comment on a picture at Michigan Muscle, comment below. I will be responding to comments as well. But as always, don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.